Mishra is here. Okay. Yes. Yeah, please.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Boris and the panelists. Um, Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings and regards from the land of Lord Jagannath. If you wish to see the red planet peeping at you from inside the eye, it would not happen on its own. You have to assist the appearance that way, and the equipment that produces this picture, when you're looking at it from up top as a surgeon, is the Luxor Revalia microscope. As the term suggests, the red planet look or the red reflex has to be brilliant to have this sort of a look to it. We will discuss this equipment in little details, not too much, but little details. And these are the segments under which we will be discussing it. The illumination part first, because there are some specifications in each of these parts. The depth perception, and of course the allied features. What does it have that the other systems, the standard systems, did not have that came to the market before this? It has got three types of illumination: the warm, the cool white, and the mixed white. The warm white is what I like the most. It gives you the feel of similar to halogen. Of course, this is LED, all three of them LED. But the feel that comes from the warm white is close to the halogen. So it just makes it easier for you to adapt to the new settings. There are two different sources from which the coaxial and the oblique comes in. And as we will find out in the next few seconds, both coaxial and oblique illuminations are important to us. The coaxial gives us the red glow, fine, but there is a role to be played by the oblique as well. Now, these are two different illuminations which produce the two different features. In the other microscope that we had in the industry, there was only one illumination which used to split. So in contrast to the convergent type of illumination that the other microscopes had, this particular microscope has a divergent type of red glow, which just increases the area in which the red glow is produced. This is another important feature. You would find oftentimes, particularly with patients who have got a minimal cataract, young patients, one-eye patients, apprehensive patients, not really aligning with the illumination of the microscope. With this equipment, it's all the more easier for them because this light is more tolerable. It's soft on the eye, so they align more easily. It's a non-focused illumination. This is what I was talking to you a while back. This is a divergent type of illumination which just enhances the area in which the red glow is visible. The depth perception of this microscope, in contrast to others, we know that we always perform a coin test for this. Now, I tried to perform that in my OT. These are 5 coins kept one on top of the other. I focused on the middle coin, and as you can see, both the top and the bottom coin edges are visible to you quite sharply. This is with the coaxial illumination. When I switched it to pure oblique illumination, as you can see, I'll just bring back the picture again. This is with the coaxial. This is with the oblique. Although the brilliance of illumination has increased, but if you look at it carefully, the depth perception is a little better with the oblique illumination. So that's the reason why I said we need the services of both. If a system allows the coaxial to go up only when the oblique goes down, then it's probably not a good system, as good a system as this. So in here, you can control both, you can customize both, you can set it according to your preference. The depth perception increases because the objective lens is a little higher up, so it gives you a 65 millimeters of buffer. We will see in real life situation how it helps. The allied features, it has 2 screens in contrast to 1 screen that's there in most of the microscopes. There's one right on top of the surgeon, so your first assistant or even you yourself can change a few settings right on top of you. So what you want, you don't have to depend on your circulator or OT attendant for doing that. The swivel techniques on the arms and the legs near the stand are fantastic. 270 degrees of seamless rotation. This is a heavy equipment, this consumes a lot of space. When you look at the ergonomics in the OT, particularly in OT which do not have huge amount of space, this works very well. And then this is the foot pedal, very functional, 15-point functions. It includes a record button, so you don't have to ask your OT attendant to start recording a procedure. You can start it right there with the foot pedal because the recorder is inbuilt inside the microscope. And then there are various settings that can be done, and then it can be stored. Just like the Centurion phaco machine, all your settings can be stored, and you can carry it with a pen drive. Whenever I go to any other center that has a Revalia to perform live surgeries, I just carry my settings, plug it in, and immediately the microscope takes it. Right. So these are certain real-life situations. This was the left-hand side picture where I'm performing a Rexis with 100% coaxial illumination with my old microscope, which was there with me before the Revalia came in. It is working very well. It is giving me a good red glow. I don't have to stain these capsules to perform a Rexis. But what you can see is there are a few dark areas. There's only a sweet spot where the brilliance of the red glow is maximal. In contrast, a similar grade of cataract performed with Revalia on the right-hand side of the screen, even if the eye moves, even if the surgeon's hands move, and intentionally I have not kept the eye at the center of the operating field, but still you can see that the red glow is as brilliant as it would have been if it would have been kept at the center. So this is just a routine case, nothing fancy about this. I just wanted you to note the depth perception in this. Now I'm focused on the cornea. As you can see, the blades are quite sharply visible to you. This is an unedited video, just sped up in the interest of time. When we perform the Rexis, the capsule is visible to us. Mind you, I'm still focused on the cornea. I don't use the fine focus system normally in my surgeries. So I'm going ahead and doing the Rexis. And then the hydro. I would be very interested to see the fluid wave because this is an immature cataract, not a very hard cataract, so the fluid wave should be visible to you. But the fluid wave occurs or passes in an area which is quite posteriorly located. So it should not be visible if the depth perception is not proper. We are still focused on the cornea. As you can see, the corneal incisions are quite clearly visible. But when we start chopping, you will see that the crack at the bottom of the nucleus would also be equally clearly visible, and we can see the red glow peeping through the floor of the tunnel. So when you advance your chops, one by one, after primary you go to secondary, the crack is quite clearly visible, even if you are focused on the cornea. So right throughout the procedure, not even a single time you would feel the necessity of changing the fine focus and taking it deeper or bringing it back superficially just because you did not have a good focus. One by one, all the pieces would be emulsified then. And of course, after the nucleus is done with, you go to the epinucleus, and in this particular case, the cortex as well. Now, for the cortex to be removed with a phaco needle, you need to have a proper depth perception. You need to be sure where your phaco needle is, because this, we all know, is a little dangerous as a step. Well, normally would probably not recommend. But this just makes your surgery a little faster. So there's nothing wrong if you do that. The only thing is you have to be absolutely sure where your phaco needle is. There are cases wherein you do not have a red glow at your disposal, like the white cataracts. There you do what I call a red glow assisted chop. So you know where the white cataract has cracked completely, looking at the red glow that is shining or shimmering through the floor of the crack. So that's how you know that the crack is complete, and then you can go to the next step. This is a deep set eye, a hypermetropic eye, and in such cases, I always go in to the minimal magnification that the microscope can provide. With the Revalia, it stays at around 0.4. So this is a 0.4 magnification you see. The reason why I go down on magnification is when you go down on magnification, your resolution becomes better. So you have a chance of the fluid pulling there in deep sockets and in small eyes. So since the fluid is pulling there, you want the resolution of the microscope to be performing at its maximum strength. The other thing that protects me in deep set eyes like this is, of course, a low IOP. So I always keep my IOP at 20. So that also helps. The fluid accumulation does not take place at the first place. And then one after the other, this is also another unedited video of that kind. The depth perception also comes into forefront. The reason why I wanted to showcase this particular video is because even if the eye is deep set and it is small, there's no reason why you should change anything other than the illumination of the microscope. And once again, since the depth perception is brilliant, you can go ahead and clean all the cortical matter with the phaco needle itself. There's no need to change your hands. It saves a few precious seconds for you if you have a long list, in particular in the OT, waiting to come in. So that's where I will keep it in this edition. Thank you so much for your kind attention and the opportunity.
Thanks, Dr. Anurag. Excellent talk.